This is Caroline's story. Caroline has been in substance misuse services for 15 years on and off because of her addiction to opiate painkillers, illicit substances and alcohol. She explains to Nicola Smith of the Torbay Public Health Team about how her addiction to opiates came about, how she navigated a life-threatening cancer diagnosis, and then how she got clean with the help of substance misuse services in Torbay in 2016. Caroline and Nicola are not their real names, but they are real people. Their real names have been changed to protect their identities, and their conversation has been read by actors.
I got into the drug service about 15 years ago. I had an addiction to painkillers. I contacted the service because I kept going back to the GP because of pain, and the answer at the time was to medicate it. I did my back in when I was in my early 20s, but I didn't want to be medicated. I had 3 children, mortgage, married, and I was getting nowhere fast, so I contacted the drug service. I had a key worker come out and visit me, and long story short, he gave me a methadone script, which kind of at the time probably helped me.
How old were you when you first saw the person from the drug service?
I was 31 or 32. It was 14 years ago.
Caroline describes how things took a turn for the worse, even after her contact with Walnut Lodge. She tells her story about how she continued to self-medicate to deal with the pain of circumstances in her life, which were spiralling downwards.
My life, it pretty much fell to bits after that. I got into trouble with the law, shoplifting.
To fund your drug use?
Yes, I had a younger son, 6 years old, and for his sake my husband got custody of him. And after that I self-medicated to mask the pain. I couldn't handle the thought of him being away, and within a year I'd lost my house, I'd lost my son, I'd lost my husband, and I ended up in kind of emergency accommodation with my 2 other young children trying to manage. But of course addiction manages you, you don't manage it. And I ended up in jail for breach of probation, shoplifting and other petty crimes just to fund my drugs.
Caroline explains that her 2 children went to live with her ex-husband and family members while she was in prison.
It takes its toll, doesn't it? There's always a price to pay, isn't there?
Yes, with addiction it doesn't just affect the person, it's a family disease. There's a ripple effect. The children are always as affected, if not more so than we are, because we're anaesthetised from it, whereas they see it. Mine saw it firsthand.
I've talked to a few people about substance misuse services, and they've indicated that they were in treatment because they experienced stuff in their childhood that wasn't resolved.
Yes, there was a lot of dysfunction as I was growing up. I was mentally and physically abused by my stepdad. I was raped as a young child, and I ran away at the age of 15. I got away as soon as I could get away, and now I've had trauma work for that. I can't blame my addiction on that. Do you know what I mean? I chose to pick up drugs because I didn't know how to control the pain. It controlled me. The thoughts of being abused were with me all the time, and when I found drugs, I thought I found the solution. I never had a childhood, and my dad's behaviour was getting worse. And once I figured that out, I was planning my escape from the age of 13. I was acting out from a young age. I was self-harming, I was starving myself, and my mum's answer to that was to drag me round to the psychiatrist to medicate me. So I was actually medicated from the age of 11 to shut me up and keep me quiet. Instead of looking at why I was doing this, at the time there was no one to listen to me. There's a lot of research done with people with addiction, and there are links between trauma and substance use. I was medicating myself and taking drugs from the age of 11 into my late 40s. For a long time I blamed my mum for the drugs. I thought my mum had failed because the one person who should protect you is your mum, and I blamed my dad because he was to blame, but long story short, no one's to blame for my addiction apart from me, and I take responsibility for my addiction. Because there are people out there who've also suffered childhood abuse who haven't resorted to drugs.
Was alcohol also a part of your drug regime?
Not until a lot later in life. Pretty much when the drugs stopped working, then I would drink on top to get the first effects that I felt. Because you're always chasing that first feeling.
Nicola asks Caroline about her treatment career.
Have you spent a straight 15 years in treatment, or did you have breaks in your recovery?
I got clean in 2010. I went to hospital to have detox and then I went into treatment centre. And it worked for a while. I mean, I stayed clean for a year. But I always had that, because I've never dealt with a trauma in my life, it always, as much as I wanted to stay clean at the time, I didn't know about the whole disease of addiction. If you've got these little niggling trauma or little things or unresolved issues, you're always going to revert back to self-medicating. And it was the only way I knew. I went to a funeral, and then I had my operation for cancer, and I was given 2 boxes of tramadol to manage the pain, which led to a massive relapse that nearly killed me.
So, after that, did you get back involved with the substance misuse services?
Yes, Shrublands was brilliant. My key worker was brilliant. She's amazing. She never gave up on me.
Great. You feel like you're doing well?
Yes, I went into the Jatters project last December, and it's totally turned my life around. They're an inspiration to us all.
Caroline recognises that much of her drug use was because she was masking pain from her early life. She describes the therapy that she had to help with the pain of those memories.
So, you had some trauma-focused therapy?
Yes, through the depression and anxiety service. When they put the buzzers in each hand and it's the eye movement, and I remember sitting on my first time going, this ain't going to work. And now I look back and I think, my God, I said to my key worker the other day, it's excellent.
Are you talking about the eye movement therapy?
Yes, it's amazing. It really worked.
So tell me how you feel now.
How do I feel? Well, the services, I can't rate the services highly enough, and especially because of my previous mistrust in men, making relationships with other women in recovery has been massive for me.
So you're gaining friendships with other people who are also moving in the same direction, are you?
Yes, you kind of hear it all the time. Stick with the winners.
So tell me, if you were going to talk to somebody who is thinking about entering substance misuse services, how would you describe their overall effect in your life? So Shrublands, Walnut, Jatis, NA, AA, all of it.
I think altogether they've saved my life. But I think you've got to go for it for the right reasons. Not because you want a roof over your head, or you want someone to babysit you, or you want a script. Do you know what I mean? The end result is that you're clean, you've been given a chance to live life as a normal person, whatever that is. But it only works if you work at it.
Great. So with your future thinking, now, where are you going to go with your life? What are you going to do?
Well, I'm volunteering.
Excellent, nice one.
Yes, because I think volunteering is a massive part for people in recovery, because when you kind of come out of all the chaos of addiction, you've got so much time on your hands, and the boredom, it's a killer.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Yes, it's not a choice that people make. I didn't, when I was a little girl, think I want to be an addict when I'm older. The power of addiction overtakes the power of anything else. But we need help. We can't get it on our own. With the best will in the world, you just can't say, I'm going to stop. You've got to have the right things in place to stay stopped.
If you are thinking of seeking help for drug or alcohol use, Caroline says she can't rate Torbay's drug services highly enough. Please talk to your GP, who will be able to make you a referral into substance misuse services, or you could contact them direct. Their details are on the home page.